Our Bitcoin mining farm is failing. Electricity rates keep rising. Bitcoin mining profitability keeps decreasing. And these Bitcoin ASIC miners are such low quality these days, with such poor warranty support, if any, they keep breaking. This is Solar. And this is Vosk. Oh, and that's Vincent. And check this guy out. His name's Joe. Joe, where are you at? We've been waiting for you all month. Forget plan A, and as we often say in crypto, plan B. We had to skip all the way to plan S. This is Operation S.U.N. S.U.N. But we're going to use it to save the VoskCoin mining farm. Hey.
Oh, hi.
What are you doing July 21st, 23rd? I thought you'd say that. Heading down to Mining Disrupt. They're back in Miami, Florida, baby. It's the biggest Bitcoin crypto mining conference in the world. Use our link to not only buy a ticket, but to get a discount. Speedrunning the why and the how. Basically, we need a lot of solar panels. We have upgraded or are in the process of upgrading all of our electric services out here, which are 5 different meters. Originally 4 400 amps and 1 600 amp. Now all being upgraded to 800 amp CT services. Going from 400 to 800 amps basically means that 1, we could run more mining gear, but 2, we can backfeed literally twice as much solar. So originally planned for a 0.5 megawatt build out, now we're going to be pushing out well over a 1 megawatt solar build. It's a little weird. It's a huge solar phase. Wow. It's a huge single phase solar operation. This is well into light commercial, if not even just a full-blown commercial build. This is very weird. This is, I wouldn't say unprecedented, but extremely uncommon. Most people are using 3-phase electricity with this, but we don't have 3-phase available. And I have all this sunk cost on the existing single-phase mining infrastructure. It made more sense financially and time-wise to just keep sinking into this solar phase. And God, I did it again. Single phase endeavor. But maybe that's a little too much into the nitty gritty. We're racking over 1,500 solar panels. We're getting a bunch of inverters. We've got different string inverters. We've got different micro inverters. We've got a lot of parts. We're going to have fun trying and testing stuff. But right now the plan is to mainly use 16 kilowatt single phase inverters, these Solus ones. We're going to be running mainly 600 watt solar panels. So these are what are considered jumbo solar panels. There's pros and cons to this, but because we are committing to the Integra rack system, there's basically a fixed cost per racking of the solar that is extremely more economical with a bigger panel, right? An Integra rack piece costs what an Integra rack piece costs. If I put a panel that's twice the size of another option on there, well, then it's halving my cost to rack each panel. I've gone very far into the deep end. We went and sourced these panels from Alibaba. We tried US local stock, domestic sourcing, as well as China direct. It's been going okay. One crazy thing that happened is a shipping container crashed that was full of our solar panels, really f***ing up the plan and the dream. We're supposed to be getting a 100% refund. We are in an active dispute with those Chinese sellers right now, and I'll leave it at that for now. But I do not have my money back, and I do not have solar panels from them. Pretty crazy. I'll make another video talking about the crash. But alas, we press on. I've got these 590 Jinkos. I've got these 600 generic panels. I'm pretty much just committing to the Jinkos. China calls them grade A solar. They're not as heavily used or reviewed necessarily here in the US of A. I'm getting each 600 watt Jinko solar panel, brand new, delivered to my doorstep from China for $60 a panel, 600 watts. And I could get higher wattage panels and actually get a lower price per watt. But what I've realized is I don't want to go really much higher than 600 watts on these panels, because you go up to things like the 720 watts. Sure, you have this high wattage, but you start dealing with some very, very, very difficult basically voltage on these things when it's cold, and it's really designed for three-phase parts. You can do single phase, but it becomes very difficult, very nuanced, very few things that can really get the job done, and I'm the only one to get the job done. Cue the rap song.
Yeah, I'm the only one to get the job done.
So ultimately there is a practical maximum when it comes to single phase solar build outs here. Some issues that you wouldn't really run into on the three-phase front. If you're building something like me, you are probably building three-phase, or you can just take what I've done on a small scale, right? So I mean, how many of these panels does it take to run a miner 100% offset? When we take full-size miners like the new Canon A16 XP, the S23s, the S21 XPs, and just all these full-size Bitcoin miners, the Bitdeer Seal miners, it's like 40-something panels per miner. And depending on how it's all done and set up, or really what we ultimately care about is our AC backfeed, essentially how much energy are we producing backfed from these panels. And with 800 amp services, I'm going to be able to run 8 to 10 miners depending on their exact settings. But the safe number here, also including for mining farm infrastructure, things like fans and immersion systems, air cooling, liquid cooling, whatever, I can get about 8 miners per system. So right, we got 8 times 5. I should be able to run 40 to 50 full-size Bitcoin miners when this is all said and done. It may seem like a lot for a little, and in this market it kind of feels like that. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency gives me an incredible way to not be beholden to my electric company, my utility, on them buying my power back and them being a key piece of my business plan. I'm open to have those conversations with them. If they would buy back at a premium, I'm interested in that. But my point is that Bitcoin cryptocurrency allows me to sell the energy that I'm generating with the sun, right? If I want to. Or better yet, it allows me to invest in solar infrastructure, right? Break even and all that, and then have my own money printer, right? I'll be making my own electricity with paid off mining gear. Bam. Free real estate. Easy passive income? I don't know, but that's the dream. I'm going to be printing my own money just like the government. It's the end game. I don't know where else to go with this stuff, because the manufacturers don't give a shit about you. Your government doesn't give a shit about you. Your electric utility doesn't give a shit about you. Nobody gives a shit about you in the grand scheme of things. They want to crush you. They want to squish you. They want to squeeze you. They want to destroy you. To just make you a cog in the machine. To just have you living under their heel, like rabble. And I'd rather than do that. Beyond that, we also get SRECs, solar renewable energy credits. So that's another form of income. And there's also a new development in Virginia. So that's a state-by-state thing. This new development should stabilize the SRECs here in Virginia, which actually significantly benefits our projected ROI, or our projected return on investment in this endeavor. I guess it's a lot to unpack, but that's kind of a snapshot on that overall piece of the situation. But as far as the build has been going, we run and gun, getting parts, going for it. I mean, I've been ordering parts for this, really for years, especially when you look at the mining farms side of all of this. But even the solar build began last year, officially, really technically it began 2 years ago, but like on a very serious, let's go get this done the end of last year. And the weather did not help me. We got snowcrete this year, very hard to, work around that. But then beyond that, rack and black racks, we call them. These black racks are steel electric coated Integra racks. And to be honest, I would never use these over their aluminum options. The downside of aluminum is the cuts are pretty sharp. And if you go from the IR40s, which are these taller black racks, to these smaller silver racks, which are the IR30 aluminum racks, there's much less play in them. So if your racking gets a little bit off, you have less and less play. And what we'd notice is even just a small issue, it starts to end up torquing the panel some. It's really hard to get a picture perfect install, especially at speed, right? Because you got to look at the efficiency. I can't be out here all day, every day for the rest of the year, right? We got to get it done, get it up for numerous reasons. One, the simple fact is like, you get this sense of urgency when you sync the order and you're like, okay, capital's deployed. We need to get this stuff up and earning. Right, like imagine sitting on a complete solar field that's turned off. Like, what are you doing? It's the same feeling you get from when you buy a new Bitcoin miner, but it's not plugged in. What are you doing? Granted, solar panels should last over 3 decades, and your Bitcoin miner would be lucky to last 3 years. And I mean seriously lucky, from its poor quality build to even just its relevance in the mining game. Look at the best Bitcoin miner here on screen right now, or a couple of them, and then look at some of the top miners 3 years ago. What a drastic difference in the hash rate, power consumption, and thus the mining efficiency, which translates to a competitive ability to be profitable mining. But point being is that these black racks with the ground screws are a very cool, interesting solution. You really can do it all with hand tools. I mean, if you wanted to throw up 30, 40, 50 panels in your backyard so you could run a miner or a couple of smaller miners, and here it is. What a great solution. It's a bit of a pain. It's better if you maybe build a template or really take your time and measure. There's a lot of just finagling you can do with it. To get them kind of looking better. You can see, we're jacking them up, we're jacking them down, we're re-racking them. One thing that we learned the hard way, I don't know why it took us so long, and there's just not a lot of good instructional information out there, is we just started aligning the bottom, but aligning the bottom with a specific line on the solar panel. So like we use line 5 on the solar panel, right? This little silver line in it, because the solar panel basically has all these little solar panels inside of it. So we lined that up with the bottom little straight piece on the Integra racks, or the racking system, and then the array is pretty much straight. It's pretty much the same height off the ground. We were aligning the top, we were aligning the middle, and they were a little cocked, a little torqued, a little twisted, which basically meant that our arrays just kept rising and rising and rising as they went down the line. It looks a little weird when it's all said and done, but the important thing here is that the taller that thing gets, the less wind load rating it has, which may get it out of spec here in a super windy scenario here in Virginia. Furthermore, you start racking these things way too far off in the wrong spots, you got too much overhang, too much weight, and over time it's going to break the panels or damage them. And solar panels that are damaged internally become fire hazards. That's scary for numerous reasons. And it's just the incorrect way to do it. I don't know how we didn't figure that out sooner, and I don't know why there's not a lot of informative write-ups from the company and even just random YouTube videos that illustrate that. I guess we'll be the new solar channel. When it comes to us personally, we are a low manpower team. There's not a lot of us, but we do a lot. That's why we're giving concrete a spin here. We've put concrete down. We've tried some of the smaller racks, right? The IR30s, it's not as an ideal of an angle as we have on the IR40s here at my location in Virginia, but it takes one bolt out of the equation. It also gives them a better wind rating, so they're more robust. And it's just, at some point you got to decide, how am I going to finish this? One more bolt, it's like, oh, whatever. And you can soak that up on a small install, but can you soak up one more bolt 1,500 times? Maybe. Then with the concrete bolts, you also don't need that other, we call them like rod bolts or whatever, that basically tighten it down on the ground screw, right? We have to worry about that with the concrete, because the concrete bolt's going into the ground with the washer and pulling the rack down. We don't need that in there, and it actually gets in the way when we're drilling, because we have these Milwaukee concrete drills with these hammer vacs. And what a good investment. That hammer vac was like less than $200 with the discount I got on it. And it's basically a vacuum that goes on your concrete drill, which makes it way more enjoyable to do and work around. Dust is not everywhere. It's way better for your health. You don't want to be inhaling concrete dust, but above all, it sucks the dust out of the hole so your bolt goes in the actual depth that you're drilling every time. It was an incredible move. Otherwise, we'd have to just run a vacuum out there and suck out, move, drill, remove, suck, and hopefully we got it all. This thing drills and sucks at the same time. I mean, it's sounding like a freaking porno. Settle down. It's just a solar installation. We're picking up speed on the concrete. It's getting easier to work with. It's looking better. It's cleaner. We're still kind of figuring out some things as we go. We just built a new template with BMA, and we just drove all the racks in a row with the template. The first couple of tests, it looked good. We'll see at scale. Does it fix our issue to basically not let us get off track too much? It's honestly, it's surprisingly difficult to do something that seems relatively simple. Drill a hole, put a bolt in, and then put a panel in between, tighten a couple nuts down. But to get it looking picture perfect can be a huge endeavor, and trying to strike a balance of, I'm personally proud of it, it looks good, but not going OCD, because again, we got to get the job done. We're going to be switching to different parts long term, but right now we're throwing up existing parts that we have that I kind of haphazardly ordered, which are going to be grow watt inverters and Hoy-Mile micro inverters. But I'm looking to move into solar string inverters across the board long term. I don't know. I only had enough of these other inverters to invert about 20% of the project. So as always, I appreciate everyone's feedback down in the comments section. But this is a snapshot of kind of where we're at. Still have we got to move a lot of dirt, more trenching, more wire, more wiring, from panels to inverters to disconnects, and getting all that stuff tied back in. It's crazy. I mean, I turned around and said F it and started the biggest project of my life. So it's been fun, but it's been challenging. I don't regret it. I'm Vosk, you're in the VoskCoin YouTube channel. This is our CSO, our Chief Solar Officer here at VoskCoin. What do you think of what we're doing? What would you change? What would you improve? What do you think we're doing right? What do you think we're doing wrong? And if nothing else, is it entertaining? Should I keep making these videos, or does nobody care and I should just chug along on my little solar journey? Let me know. Appreciate you. Seriously, not just some YouTube lamer saying that. Goodbye.